Hello, children. Welcome to Sing Along's interactive story time. And this morning, I'm going to be telling you the story of Snow White and the 7 Little Men. I am your storyteller, Auntie Candy. Hello, children. Say hello, Auntie Candy. Hello, Auntie Candy. Oh, how lovely. So, are we ready for our story? Well, I think since it's all joining in, I think we should get our voices warmed up a little bit, don't you? So I'm going to say or sing a line from a nursery rhyme, and I want you to sing the next line. So, where shall we start? I know, let's start with something easy. Ba, ba, black sheep. Gorgeous. Do another one. I know. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Oh, one more. The grand old Duke of York. Oh, it's a very big number as well, that, isn't it? 10,000. Marvellous. Well, I think you've done really, really well. And now, well, I've got a little job for you. What I want you to do is go off on a little scavenger hunt. Yeah, and I'm just going to give you a minute, so you've got to be quick. And I want you to find 2 things for me. First of all, I think we need a mirror, don't we, for the Snow White story. So I want you to go and find a mirror or something reflective, like tinfoil or something. And then I think a lovely red apple. Yes. And if you can't find an apple, or just an apple of any colour, or just a bit of fruit will do. So off we go, children. Let's go and find our mirror and our apple. Now, I think I'll go and have a look as well. Where am I going to find an apple, do you think? I know, the kitchen. So run into the kitchen. There might even be a mirror in there as well. You never know. Let's have a look. Off we go. Quick, 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 quick. Oh, no. I've seen a mirror over here. I'll get the mirror first. It's lovely. And, oh, yes, here it is in my kitchen. A lovely red apple. Fantastic. So, let's put our apple down. Well, what we're going to need them for, of course, is to join in during the story. So, first of all, we're going to think about the mirror. What we're going to do with the mirror is every time the evil queen looks in her mirror, I want you to get your mirror and I want you to say with the evil queen, are we ready? Get your mirror up. Are we ready? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? Off you go. Did you do that? I think you did. You were marvellous at it, weren't you? And then the next thing we need, of course, is our lovely red apple. And this is for when the evil queen disguises herself as an old lady and she offers Snow White the red apple to eat. And the moment that she bites the apple, Snow White falls to the floor, completely dead. And I want you all to bite your apple and fall to the floor as dramatically as possible. Are we ready? And I'm not dead, really. No, just joking. And neither will you be. Fabulous. So, well, I think we're almost ready for our story, aren't we? But before we start our story, we've got a couple more joining in things to do. And all fairy stories have goodies and baddies. Yep. And our first goodie, of course, in our fairy story this morning is Snow White. So when we hear Snow White's name mentioned, we can go, because she's so beautiful, yeah? And then we're on to the villains, and the first villain, and perhaps really the only big villain in the story, is the evil queen. And whenever I mention the evil queen in the story, I want you all to go, boo! Boo! All all together. Marvellous. Oh, that's so loud. We like to make lots of noise, don't we? And then we've got a couple of the 7 little men. We're going to do, I know, let's do, for Grumpy, let's stamp our feet and pull a grumpy face. Like that. Off you go. Gorgeous. And then, oh, we've got Sleepy as well. So I think we can go, oh, I'm so tired. Off you go. Lovely. Well, I think we're ready for our story, don't you? So here we go. Snow White and the 7 Little Men. Once upon a time, there was a very beautiful girl. Her skin was white as snow, her cheeks as rosy as a red apple, there's our apple, and her hair as black as coal, and she was called Snow White. Her mother had sadly died, but her father, the king, soon married another wife, who was very, very beautiful, but she was very wicked as well. Ooh. And she could not bear to think that anyone in the land was as beautiful as she. She had a magical mirror, yes, and every time she looked in her mirror, she used to say, are we ready? Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? And whenever she said it, the mirror would reply, O Queen, thou art the fairest in the land. That made the Queen very, very happy. So, unfortunately for her, as Snow White grew older, she grew more and more beautiful. And when she was 18 years old, bright as the day and fairer than the Queen herself, when the Queen went to her mirror and asked the mirror, mirror, we go with the mirror again, mirror, mirror, on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? The mirror replied, O Queen, thou art fair, but there is one in the land fairer than thou, and her name is Snow White. Oh, the Queen, when she heard the name of her stepdaughter, was filled with fury and rage, and she called on one of her servants, and she said, take Snow White into the woods and make sure that I never see her again. Boo! Oh, the servant led Snow White away, but when he got her into the woods, his heart melted, and she begged him to spare her life. And the servant said, run, 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 Snow White, run as fast and as far away as you can. So Snow White, she ran, she ran, she ran, she ran for all her life was worth, till eventually she came upon a tiny cottage deep in the woods. She went inside. Everything in the cottage was neat and tidy. On the table, a white cloth was spread, and on it were 7 plates, 7 little loaves of bread, and 7 glasses. And in the corner, against the wall, were 7 little beds. Who can live here, thought Snow White. Anyway, she was exceedingly hungry, so she went over to the loaves and she took a little bite out of each of the loaves. And then, well, she'd been running quite a long way in the forest, and she felt a bit tired. So, although the beds were really small, she decided that she could lay down across them all, and so she did. and she fell asleep. A little while later, the owners of the cottage came home. It was the 7 little men. They came in quietly, apart from Grumpy. What did Grumpy do? What about Sleepy? Oh, and there was also Happy and Bashful and Dopey and Doc, who wants to test everyone's temperature, and Sneezy. Achoo! Achoo! Oh, bless you, Sneezy. Poor you. Suddenly, Sleepy noticed they had someone in the house with them. Of course, it was Snow White lying on the bed, wasn't it? And she was fast asleep. So they went over to the little beds, and Grumpy prodded her. Snow White woke with a start. She was surrounded by the 7 little men staring at her. But Doc quickly reassured her that she was perfectly safe with them and would come to no harm with them. And Snow White, well, she relaxed very quickly and she told them all her story. And after they'd heard the story of the wicked old queen, the 7 little men felt very, very sorry for Snow White, and they said to her that she could stay with them forever, where she would, of course, be totally safe, as long as she did a little bit of cooking and cleaning for them, swept the floor and did a little light dusting occasionally. And you know what? Snow White was really happy to do that because she was a really kind little girl. Well, the next morning, the little men went off to work. And you know what? The little men sing a song, don't they? Shall we sing the little men's song together? I think you might know it. Off we go. We dig, 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 dig. We dig the whole day through. We dig, 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 dig. We're not sure why we do. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. It's off to work we go. Hi ho, 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 hi ho. It's off to work we go. Hi ho, 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 hi ho. Oh, children, that was beautiful singing. Oh. Well, while the little men were going off to work, Snow White did some cleaning because the place was a little bit of a mess. They were hard workers, those little men, but they weren't very good at the cleaning. So the little men had warned her that she must be very, very careful because they said the evil queen will discover where you are and she will come along and find you. So you must not let anyone into our cottage. And off they went to work. Meanwhile, back in the palace, the evil queen, thinking that Snow White had been taken into the woods and killed by her servant, picked up her mirror. Are we ready with our mirror, children? Looked in the mirror again and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror replied, "O Queen, thou art fair, but Snow White is still alive. She lives in the woods, far, far away, with the 7 little men." When she heard this, the queen was apoplectic with fury. Ooh, off you go, everybody. Boo, the furious queen. But she had a plan. She decided that she would change herself into an old peddler woman, and she would go into the woods and find the 7 little men's cottage and kill Snow White. Meanwhile, in the cottage, Snow White had no idea this was going along, and she was busy doing lots of cleaning. And of course, had lots of little helpers to do the cleaning. Yeah, do you know, I wish I had all those little animals to help me do the cleaning around the house. I bet Mummy and Daddy do too, don't they, in your house? My place is a tip, it really is. I really could do with all those little creatures to help me. Oh, well, maybe if I wish very, very hard, they might turn up tomorrow. Hope so. So, let's get back to the story. What's happened? Well, the wicked queen finally finds the cottage of the 7 little men, and she comes to the front door, knocks on the door. Snow White looks out of the window because she doesn't want to let anybody in, and the wicked queen, dressed up as an old peddler woman, shows Snow White her beautiful red apple, and she says, "Oh, please, my little beauty, come and taste my beautiful red apple." Well, Snow White has been told not to let anybody in by the little men, so she says, "Oh no, I'm sorry, old peddler woman, I cannot let you in." "Oh, please do, my beauty." "Oh, no, 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 I must not," says Snow White. "Well, my beauty, why not take a little bite of my apple? It tastes juicy and delicious." Well, Snow White wanted to be kind, and the old peddler woman was offering her a free apple. So she took the apple, and just as she took a bite, a piece of the apple lodged in her mouth and poisoned her. And what did she do, children? She collapsed dead on the ground. Oh, very dramatic, very dramatic. Oh, 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 oh. Well, the little 7 little men, Snow White lying on the floor, they came home that evening from work, and they found Snow White on the cottage threshold, completely collapsed on the ground, quite dead. Oh, children, the 7 little men were so unhappy. They lifted Snow White up. They combed her beautiful black hair. She still looked beautiful. Her skin was white as snow, her cheeks as rosy as the red apple that had poisoned her, and the hair, which they were combed, black as the coal. And they put Snow White, because she was so beautiful, into a glass coffin in the woods, so that they could carry on seeing her, because they missed her so much and wanted to see her still looking beautiful. One day, a handsome prince rode by, and he saw Snow White laying there in her glass coffin. It was as if she was asleep, and he was very, very curious to know who this beautiful girl was. So he got off his horse. He went over to the coffin, lifted open the glass cover, and as he lifted Snow White up, the piece of apple in her mouth dislodged, and she came back to life. Oh, children, Snow White wasn't dead at all. She's come back to life. She was so astonished. She looked at the handsome prince and said, "Well, who are you?" And he said, "I am a handsome prince, and I have come along to take you to be my bride." So off they went to the handsome prince's palace, and they got married straight away. Meanwhile, back at the old queen's palace, convinced that now Snow White was dead from the poisoned apple, she picked up her mirror, and once again, are we ready, children? What did she say? "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" And of course the mirror, which could tell no lies, said, "O Queen, thou art fair, but Snow White still lives. She's married to a handsome prince in a palace beyond the borders of your kingdom." The moment she heard this, The wicked queen, let's all boo, boo, was absolutely overcome with a passion of fury and jealousy and hatred. She started to scream and scream and froth. Everybody scream and scream. She got so furious. She choked on her own rage and fell down dead. Ugh. And that, children, was the end of the old queen. And Snow White and her handsome prince, and of course the 7 little men, all lived happily ever after. Wasn't that a lovely story? Well, I do hope you enjoyed it. That's the end of our interactive story time from Sing Along this morning, and we'll be seeing you very, very shortly with another little fairy story. Bye-bye, children. Bye-bye, mums and dads.